Fire season is right around the corner. We'll tell you how fire crews are dealing with a firefighter shortage and how you and your family can be ready to go should a fire knock on your doorstep. Plus, how artificial intelligence and the world's largest camera network will help firefighters detect wildfires this summer.
I think in general that line is going up. I think we are seeing warmer summers.
Some of the most famous wine regions in the world might be susceptible to rising temperatures in the years ahead, but here in the Rogue Valley, things are looking much more favorable. I'll explain why coming up.
The lodge up on Mount Ashland will be open an extra day this summer. We'll let you know what else Mount Ashland has planned if you head up the mountain in the next few months. Those stories and much more on the StormWatch 12 summer forecast, which starts right now.
Watching out for you. This is a Newswatch 12 special presentation, the StormWatch 12 summer forecast.
Summer is almost here, and the StormWatch 12 weather team is making sure you're prepared. Thanks for joining us for the StormWatch 12 summer forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman. Over the next half hour, we're going to break down how current and future weather conditions will impact your summer plans and, of course, fire season. And with fire season about to begin, the U.S. Forest Service continues to deal with a shortage of firefighters. StormWatch 12 meteorologist Josh Colbert looked into this shortage and how fire crews are adapting. Josh?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Well, according to the U.S. Forest Service, as of early April, there are already over 8,500 wildland firefighters on board for the upcoming fire season. Although this is an uptick compared to the past couple years, the Forest Service is still only around 75% of their hiring goal. I talked to ODF Southwest to see how this shortage is impacting our local firefighting force. And despite the firefighter shortage on a national scale, ODF Southwest has been able to fill most, if not all, positions over the past couple years. Even if more positions were needed here locally, that's out of the control of ODF Southwest.
We have a set amount of positions, and those are granted by the legislature, so it's not something that we can change. We can be strategic with where we place those people, whether it's a dozer operator or a firefighter, forest officer, things like that.
Although ODF Southwest has been able to manage, Natalie did tell me about some systemic issues that make people wary of becoming firefighters. There's the life-threatening aspect of it, along with the long hours and long distance from friends and family. And of course, the pay. According to ZipRecruiter, wildland firefighters in Oregon average $19 an hour.
Thanks, Josh. Fire crews in Oregon and California will have access to a powerful new tool this fire season to detect fires. It's called Alert West, and it's the world's largest network of wildfire detection cameras across the western United States. U of O's Oregon Hazards Lab, along with partners University of Nevada, Reno and UC San Diego, have been building up their network of cameras since 2018.
It provides a single place where the firefighting community and the public can go to see the cameras that are owned and operated by the universities throughout the West.
Douglas Toomey is the director of the Oregon Hazards Lab. He says previously the cameras were used by firefighters to get a 360-degree view of weather conditions and fuel loads. This fire season, the Alert West camera network will be using artificial intelligence to continuously monitor for new wildfire starts.
Then alerts go out to emergency managers, the firefighting community, etc., and they decide how they're going to respond to it.
Toomey says CAL FIRE has been using this technology the last couple of years with great success.
It's reduced the impacts of fires. We know it saved lives in that area. It gets firefighters onto incidents on difficult days much more quickly.
California's camera network is much larger. In Oregon, Toomey says there were more manned lookout towers in the 1950s than the number of cameras that we have presently. He says they're working with ODF and other organizations to expand the Oregon network. 30 more cameras are planned to be installed by next year.
I think that here in Oregon, I think the public and the policymakers are becoming aware that we have a significant problem that's coming for us every summer. We need to respond as a collective community to that. We need to grow our ability to detect, respond, and to fires, but also how we mitigate our fuels, things like that, make our homes and our communities prepared.
You can also view all of the cameras across the Alert West network anytime. We have a link to check out the cams on our website, kdrv.com. After wildfires go through, their impacts can be felt for years to come. StormWatch 12 meteorologist Oliver Smith is here with what happens after fire crews put out the flames.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I was able to speak with Jessica Newyear from the Oregon Department of Forestry about the overall impacts to post-fire landscapes. The impacts to the landscape after a large fire can vary. You will usually see a lot of burned trees, but one of the things that you won't necessarily see is that the root systems are very much affected. They are damaged to the point where trees can easily fall from either too much rain or wind. This will make for very hazardous conditions near the burned regions. There are some benefits from fires, such as leftover material.
It loosens up the soil as well, and it kind of creates this like gray ash over everything. However, as time goes on, the positive end of it is that soil then can get really nutritious for future growth and everything like that.
Jessica says that prescribed fires is one form of mitigation. That does create smoke, but would lessen the overall smoke from a fire that would burn in that region without the prescribed fire.
Well, who knows how close we are to receiving the first evacuation order or warning or level 1, level 2, level 3 evacuation for this season. But whenever that happens, you don't want to be caught with your tail between your legs. So let's show you how to sign up for evacuation alerts. First, for Siskiyou County, you do it by way of alerts.ready.siskiyou.gov. And then for Oregon, it's just oralert.gov. You'll put in your county, city, tribe, or zip code, of course, at those URLs that I just talked about. And then if you want to know your zone, this year Jackson County is now using the zone system in addition to Josephine and Siskiyou County. So type in your address to protect.genesis.com to know your zone.
And also be sure to download our Newswatch 12 app ahead of fire season to stay updated on fires burning in our region and get alerts right to your phone about new evacuations and shelter information. You can also visit KDRV.com for more important fire watch information. Ahead of fire season and summer, let's take a look at where we stand with our water year numbers and the drought monitor. First, a look at our water year, and we're seeing some spots a little bit below average, not by much though in Medford, a little bit more for folks in Montague, but we are above average in Klamath Falls and well above average in Mount Shasta, over 5 inches above average for precipitation. We did get some good news when it came to the drought monitor last week. Some moderate drought still lingering for parts of Klamath and Lake County, but the latest update, that has been erased, and it's been a while. Not since in Southern Oregon and Northern California since early February of 2020 have we been drought-free across Southern Oregon and Northern California. You can see how things have improved as we've gone over the past year. Oliver?
Thanks, Matt. Let's dig deeper into the drought monitor and how it's created. The drought monitor identifies areas in drought and labels them by intensity. The map uses 4 categories of drought. Moderate is the least intense and exceptional is the most intense. I was able to speak with Dr. Larry O'Neill from the Oregon Climate Service about how the drought monitor assigns the different drought categories. Dr. O'Neill says certain impacts and their intensities are what drives the categories. He said the biggest adverse impacts were low reservoirs, restricted irrigation, water allotments for producers, and water wells going dry, which require them to be drilled deeper. So there are multiple factors that go into the drought monitor. The drought monitor is updated weekly on Thursdays.
Well, here's a current look at reservoir levels, and these are reservoirs that are controlled by the Bureau of Reclamation, and these are reservoirs that are controlled by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And you can tell that the levels are much lower for the Bureau reservoirs as opposed to the Corps reservoirs. And the million-dollar question, at least for me, is why is it like that? So I talked to both the Bureau and the Corps to find out just exactly why this is. Right off the bat, both agencies gave me the same answer. Reservoirs for the Talent Irrigation District are primarily used for irrigation, as the name would suggest. The main purposes for reservoirs operated by the Corps are flood control and fish and wildlife enhancement, with irrigation and recreation as secondary purposes as well. The Corps says this creates a dynamic setup for water flow.
And so when I may say like, oh, this is how we do this here, it's specific to the situation, whether we're in a flood control situation or we're not in a flood control situation or we're operating for hydropower or something else. So it is not gospel across the board. It just depends on truly how we're operating in that moment.
Further to the south, the Talent Irrigation District hasn't had to worry about flood controls in years, a testament to the need of irrigation in and around the Rogue Valley. However, more importantly, it's a testament to the lack of snowpack in the immediate area.
You know, the snowpack, I think, has been a big issue. I think we all know that we just aren't getting the snowpack that we used to, which is a big contributor to our water supply.
The Talent Irrigation District told me one thing that's not impacting reservoir levels, and that would be conspiracy theories. Despite some local rumblings, Howard Prairie was not drained a few years back. Hyatt Lake was drained by the Bureau in 2017 thanks to the Safety of Dams program, but no water was released from Howard Prairie.
El Nino in the Pacific could transition to La Nina by the end of this summer. I'll let you know what that could mean for our summer weather.
And the lodge up at Mount Ashland ski area will be back open next month for an additional day this year. I'll let you know what else they have planned for the summer on the mountain coming up.
But first, it's time for some trivia. What is the hottest temperature on record for Klamath Falls? A, 100 degrees, B, 107, C, 103, or D, 104? I'll have the answer when we return.